Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. And it's Tuesday. It's January 17th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And it feels like a Monday. It is for Monday for trading purposes, really. I forgot about the holiday on Friday. I wasn't even thinking about it. Or I would have mentioned that there wouldn't be a chart lesson on Monday and that I wouldn't be trading. But I forgot about it. Sorry about that. But anyway, most of you probably found out that when you came in, if you turned on your chart, it looked like there wasn't much happening. You know why? And I usually don't trade those days, even though you could trade them till noontime. There's just you don't want to get. Generally, what happens is you get hung up in, and you can't get out, and you don't get stopped out a lot of times, but you never it never moves enough to for you to get out on your scalp. I mean, you can see it actually was more movement than I thought it was. Looks like, or is that Friday? No, that's Friday. I guess there doesn't. Oh yeah, here's the 15th. You can see that right there. Just that little. Looks like we gapped down and just went sideways. There's nothing there. If you try to enter in that, you just get stuck there, and then you end up getting stopped out the next. Well, you got to be out by the end of the day, so you end up getting out, and if you're lucky, you can get a tick or two, and if you're unlucky, you only lose a tick or two. So I don't trade those days. You can see that that's not worth sitting there far between there and there. So I was going to say, if this was actually the price action, that wasn't a bad day. But no, it's so small I couldn't even see it hardly. But market opened right here, closed right here. So it actually opened Sunday night. So all of this is Sunday night. That's what happened from noon. You had about 5 or 6 bars there. So yeah, it's just not worth trading that stuff. So today wasn't much better. Not a lot of trades. It's going to be pretty quick. I'm trying to do these a little earlier. I'll do them earlier when I can, and but I'm going to go through these trades. This isn't going to take long. There just wasn't much happening today. I mean, this is a trading range. You can see the clear highs up here. The lows, we had an overnight low of here, which ended up testing that again later in the day, and it held. But for the most part, we couldn't even get back down there during trading hours. So um, if you measure either one of these, if you measure this once, you can see there's the lower side, and it's just a perfect measured move in there. Um, and you just had to be real patient because there weren't a whole lot of trades. So um, first trade I saw, didn't even get a trade till after the open, the 8:30 open, and there's a nice trade here. It's just basically this is your reversal pattern. You're coming up, you had a little close outside, a new high, then you start working down. You actually had 2 legs down. I would have considered going long here if that hadn't been a 1 bar trading range. And, if you did go long there, it would have worked, but that's not a good enough signal bar. You might have treated this like support across here, and this a failed break lower. If you did that, I'm okay with you maybe going long there, but it's still not a good enough signal bar, so I'm only going to make it green. Um, but when it turns back up and you confirm that trend line and you basically get that third move up that fails after pushing through the EMA, and look how bearish that is. I like going short there. That was a quick, easy trade. Worked pretty well, and then we just start bouncing here. You might have considered going long right here. It's a double. This is a double test of this level, but we are making a slightly lower low each time there, so you have to be a little concerned about that. And then going long right here above that bar, you're going long right into some pretty strong resistance. Plus, you got this trend line working down. So I don't really recommend that. But the only way I would recommend getting in that is if it breaks higher and it drops low enough to get out before you get back here. Then maybe. Because when you double test something like that, we're probably going to push higher. You just don't know if we can get through the other side. We do, and it fails and turns down. You don't want to go short right in the middle there, right close to that low. And you really don't want to go long right back into that. So um, when we tested this again and bounced, you might have considered going long there, but again, it's going to be pretty aggressive. So I marked it green, and I'm still not crazy about it. I think you're always better off to wait on that higher low if it's coming off the low, or a lower high if it's coming off the highs. And you get the higher low right here, But you don't really get much chance to enter this, and it's right there. Notice how it jumps right over that support resistance line. I can show you that on trend lines, uh, horizontal support and resistance. We see that over and over. That's a good sign you probably have your support and resistance or your trend line in the right place. This takes on off. It does pull back here. Notice this is a double, triple bottom here, so that's like a new low. There's your first entry short, and you push up and you get it pushed down and you get another failure, second entry short. It's the first break of this little trend channel working up. So we're probably going to at least test this high. Just make sure you got enough room to get out before you get in. And if you do, I'm okay with that one. This looks like a reversal pattern. Notice the new high, and you get a first entry, and then you get a second entry. It's not a very good second entry, and it's still above the EMA. And you see you would have gotten fooled there most likely. I think that's a 4-tick failure. So that's the reason I didn't like that one. If it would have pushed on through the EMA and then pulled back with that failed second entry long, I'd say jump on that one. But it doesn't. So, and you see it would have likely cost you if you'd have went short right there, unless you kept your stop above the high, and then you're risking too much. So we get another chance right here. And the only reason I like this one is because you tested this original resistance once, and then you double tested it again. Plus, this is a failed second entry long. I'm still not crazy about it because look how we're going sideways, and it's just congestion right there, and you're kind of hung between the EMA and this resistance, and so it could have ticked out this side and then turned up. But odds are we're probably going to go lower at some point, and we doubt if we tested this twice and couldn't get through, really 3 times. There's a good chance. So I was willing to make it green, and of course we come down here, and again you want to wait on the higher low, and these are the ones you got to be the most concerned about when it's in the middle of a range. You get more failures in here. So until it tested this several different times, I wasn't crazy about going long off this line. But notice what happens. It tested here, and then, so this is like a double test of this level. And that's a fairly bullish bar right there. That's like a reversal bar. So you might have considered going long there. It would have worked. You would have had to probably ride this out a little bit before it went higher. But I think the better entry is right here. Notice what happens. You get a double bottom, and so that's like a new low, and then the first entry, and then a second entry short, it fails, and that's another little reversal bar. That's also a little failure out of below all those matching lows there. So I like that one, just thinking you can catch it back up to the high, and that's all you get out of it. And then notice you get a little double top here with a nice bearish bar. So I like that one. And then you get the failed second entry long. Again, it's not below that EMA, so I'm not crazy about entering right here. But when you made this big bearish bar and it breaks lower here, I'm okay really going short right there, but your stop still has to go above this bar. So this would really be your signal bar, and your stop would have to go above these 2 matching highs here. It wouldn't have mattered. It would have never came into play because the bottom just fell out of it. You don't know that it's going to take off like that, but you're hoping you get at least a scalp out of it. This turned out to be the trade of the day. And if you'd entered either one of these, and you'd have got a runner here. And we finally get a break. This is just like a little spike in channel here. This is just so steep you can't really get a good trend line off of it. But it looks like if you just use the backside and drag it over, it looks like a little spike and channel down. You get a break here, and you actually get 2 legs to a new low when it reverses. If this would have been in the 2 o'clock hour, you might have considered going short here if you had room to get out, which you really don't. It would have still worked, but it's probably not worth risking. You'd have been probably better off to look to reverse this once it broke below this low here, especially once it bounced right off that previous overnight low. That's a good sign that we're probably going to go higher there. And you're likely to get a bounce there, even if it's only temporary. So, but yeah, there just wasn't a lot happening today. It's pretty weak. You know, you could argue for a few more of these to maybe be green, borderline blue or red, but you know, I don't see anything here that really, even the ones that I marked, they're not, you know, red or blue. Only a couple of them are what I would call textbook type entries, but they are close enough to be red or blue. They're just right there. Even a couple of them are on the right on the borderline. So um, generally, what you have to do on a day like this is you just have to take your shorts off the highs and your longs off the lows, and you got to be real careful in the middle because you'll get more failures there than anywhere. Um, so, I mean, that's what we're looking at today. Not much, but we'll be back tomorrow. Maybe it'll pick up a little bit tomorrow. We'll see. Might have still been a few people on vacation today. We'll just have to see. So, but I'm going to wrap it up for today. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we will see you next time.